Listen closely, can you hear it? It is the roar of the world, not the gentle hum of creation, but a frantic mechanical grinding, a sound born of speed and fear, echoing from every screen and every street corner. It is the signature song of the 21st century, a symphony of scarcity and hurry, where every minute is mortgaged to an urgent, yet often meaningless pursuit. This is the chaotic tide we find ourselves swimming in, a current so powerful it threatens to pull us under, dissolving our sense of self into the common, frantic stream. We watch the masses, perpetually accelerated, caught in the tyranny of the immediate. Their lives are measured not in moments of presence, but in transactions and targets met. There is the relentless, burning chase for currency, the single metric by which an inverted world measures worth. This pursuit is a treadmill that speeds up with every step, fueling a hollow, exhausted kind of living, convincing people that the next dollar, the next promotion, the next acquisition is the anchor they are missing. But it is a mirage. They are chasing an outer balance to compensate for a profound inner deficit, and in their exhaustion, their filters fail. Beneath this frantic veneer of activity lies a deeper, more corrosive condition, a generalized anguish born of existential drift. Millions are moving fast, but they have forgotten why. The compass of purpose has spun loose. They mistake motion for meaning, occupying themselves with noise and consumption to drown out the terrifying silence where true direction resides. They feel perpetually under threat, not from a single enemy, but from the vague, shapeless dread of irrelevance. This state of constant, low-grade fear prevents them from committing to anything enduring. They have no bedrock of true objectives, only fleeting impulses dictated by the next trend or the immediate pressure of the market. This objective vacuum is the wellspring of their pain. Observe the digital arena, the polished surface of modern existence where this chaos finds its sharpest edge. Social media, a landscape designed for connection, has been warped into a stage for performance, a gallery of perfected lies. Here, the influencers perform lives of unattainable sunshine, crafting every vignette and every smile with clinical precision, selling the myth of effortless perfection. The viewers, the audience caught in the downpour of comparison, absorb this deception, internalizing the stress of a life they believe they should but cannot afford. They are left feeling less than, inadequate, constantly chasing a fabricated standard of happiness that is, by its very nature, exhausting and unreal. This is where dignity begins to fray. The result of this mass exhaustion and deep-seated deception is the madness of others, a pervasive lack of control spilling out into the shared space. People move through the world raw and unfiltered, their edges sharp, their words unmeasured. They are aggressive in their convictions, volatile in their reactions, acting from a place of chronic anxiety rather than conscious thought. Their values have been turned upside down, prioritizing spectacle over substance, loudness over listening, fleeting validation over enduring peace. The air is thick with the residue of their unmanaged emotions, and it is against this relentless external pressure that our deepest work must begin. We are constantly exposed to the digital vitriol, the impatient honk, the judgmental stare, the casual cruelty, all symptoms of a collective soul running on empty. This is the immediate danger. If we allow ourselves to be swept into this current, we become indistinguishable from the chaos. To enter the wave is to surrender our internal clock to the external frenzy. Our judgment warps. We adopt their aggression as self-defense, their inverted values as necessity, and their anxiety as reality. We begin to seek validation in the same transient metrics, the temporary win, the loud reaction, the quick fix, and the consequence is an accelerated deterioration of our soul. Our dignity is the first casualty, exchanged for a desperate need to keep pace, leaving us as exhausted, reactive, and purposeless as the very crowd we sought to escape. We forfeit our unique rhythm for the universal, accelerating collapse. But here, at the epicenter of the storm, we must speak the vital, powerful word, equilibrio. Balance is not merely a state of rest. It is an act of sovereign choice. It is the conscious, deliberate decision to anchor the self within, rather than tethering our peace to the fluctuating tides of the outside world. To live with dignity in this chaos is to recognize that we cannot control the aggression, the inverted values, or the frenetic speed of others, but we retain absolute authority over our response, our boundaries, and our inner landscape. This is the imperative to construct an inner sanctuary. To achieve this, we must first master the art of non-engagement. When the madness of others attempts to breach our walls, be it through a hostile comment, a manipulative interaction, or the seductive lure of the endless digital scroll, our defense is not counter-aggression, but profound stillness. We must learn to let the roar pass through us, not into us. This stillness is the beginning of dignity, for it declares that our inner peace is non-negotiable and not subject to the emotional whims of the unanchored. Balance demands a fierce protection of our mental and emotional energy. It means recognizing that every scroll, every consumption of filtered perfection, every rush to keep up with an unattainable pace is a tax on our soul. We must establish robust, invisible boundaries against the culture of hurry. This might mean deliberately slowing down, choosing contemplation over consumption, and investing in activities that feed the soul's true economy, rather than the fleeting false economy of clicks and likes. Dignity insists that we are not commodities to be marketed, nor are we mere reactors to external stimuli. We are beings capable of intentional, deliberate living. To find your equilibrium is to retrieve your internal compass. It is recognizing that true wealth is not the accumulation of money, which is transient and external, but the accumulation of presence, which is enduring and internal. When you stand in your balance, the urgency of the daily rush loses its grip. You move through the necessary demands of the day, the work, the responsibilities, the navigation of the crowd, not as a desperate participant, but as a deliberate observer, grounded in your own rhythm. The frantic dance of the world continues, but you, rooted and centered, choose your steps with grace. This commitment to balance is what restores dignity. When the world tells us our worth is tied to how much we produce, how young we look, or how perfectly we curate our existence, dignity whispers back a truth. My value is intrinsic. I am worthy because I am. This realization is the shield that protects us from the inverted values. We stop chasing the external performance and begin honoring the internal experience. We move from a life of filtered pretense to one of authentic, quiet substance. The profound truth of equilibrium is that it requires constant, gentle maintenance. It is not a destination achieved, but a daily, breath-by-breath practice. It is the willingness to pause when the impulse is to rush. It is the courage to disconnect when the pull to connect is strongest. It is the humility to admit that our only true control is over the light we choose to maintain within our own being. Look inward now, past the echo of the sirens and the bright, distracting glare of the screens. Find the quiet core of your being. This is your anchor, your sanctuary, and your sovereign space. Let the wind howl outside. Let the tides of chaos rise and crash. You have chosen your stance. You are not defined by the speed of the world, nor judged by the filters of others. You are defined by your stillness, your intentionality, and your steadfast commitment to your own center. Maintain that center, honor that dignity, and you will not merely survive the chaos, you will become the quiet, unshakable foundation upon which genuine life is built. In this radical act of inner balance, you offer the world not more noise, but the quiet promise of sanity. Hold fast, be still, be whole.